Call the regular meeting of council order for Monday, July 6th. To approve the agenda, please. Council Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the July 6th, 2026 regular council meeting agenda be approved as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes for June 1st, 2026 regular council meeting minutes. Councilor Noxana.
That the June 1st, 2026 regular council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Norbury. Any errors or omissions from council? Ms. Scott.
No.
Okay. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. June 16th, 2026 special council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the June 16th, 2026 special council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Noxana. Any errors or omissions from council? Ms. Scott.
No.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Ms. Scott?
No.
Thank you. Because we moved our time in the meeting, we're going to move on, and when delegations show up, we'll come back to that. Okay, move right on to the consent agenda. Recommendation, please, Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the items in the July 6th, 2026 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder. Councilor Hoffman, all in favor? Carried. Are there any items that council would like to bring forward for discussion? Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. 7.2 for discussion, please.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana, all in favor? Carried. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have a request from the regional district asking us, need to get to it, for a motion here about the adoption of the Regional Parks Service Establishment Bylaw. But one of the questions was that there were some differences in the costs in the report. So in the maximum requisition, it says it's 66 cents per 1,000. I think earlier in the report, it says like 0.06 cents. And I'm kind of curious. Here we go. On page 56, it says the proposed maximum annual requisition is 0.066 versus 0.66. And I was wondering if we had any clarification.
I know staff has reached out to the PRD to get clarification, but I'm not sure what they've answered yet. Ms. Scott?
I don't have an answer to that question yet, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like for me, it's a factor of 10, knowing if it's either 6 cents per thousand or 66 cents per thousand. In my opinion, I mean, my guess would be 6 cents, but until we get answers, I don't think we can support any resolution at this time. So, thanks.
Don't disagree with you. It should just be deferred to the next agenda. Staff will have it. I don't think it was caught at the PRD meeting either, so. Okay, any other discussion about 7.2? Okay, are there any other items that council like to bring forward for discussion? Okay, I'd like to bring 7.4 for discussion. Seconder, Councilor Norbury, all in favor? Carried. Just want to make a comment about it. Red letter, appreciate the resident reaching out. I can state that this council has done nothing but be engaged with ministry and government, trying with the school district, still waiting for timelines from this side. But I do believe this council as a whole has been advocating for this community and making sure that the right steps have been taken. And I believe if these community residents have a more of a concern, that they start reaching out to the school district 59. I know we sent a letter addressing those concerns, so please reach out to the proper channel. There's one later in the agenda that thanks us for the letter, and she's looking for us to advocate. We already do that. I think we, as council as a whole, has been fairly involved. I don't have the timelines. I know I connected with staff today. As timelines come out from School District 59 and Ministry, will be updated, and obviously they'll update the public with those announcements. But I believe this, as elected officials, we're doing all the advocacy we can do. And I think it's only right that I'll answer that letter, and I think I'll just leave it there. And again, I hope she watches it and that she does reach out to the proper channels if she has more questions in regards to her concerns. Any other discussion about 7.4? Okay. Any other items council like to bring forward for discussion? Okay. I would think if anybody from council is going to the UBCM and you want to attend the resource breakfast, get hold of staff. It only has to be discussed. I guess, I don't know if I want to discuss it, but I don't believe I'm available for the district of Taylor, but if somebody is, if they want to reach out to me. I think it'd be, if we can send somebody. Okay. Councilor Norbury.
7.13 for discussion, please, Mayor.
Okay. Seconder, Councilor Noxana. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. In the spirit of whenever somebody sends us a letter, we send them a response. I appreciate Paige Irving sending us a thank you letter for her scholarship. I have no doubt that she is going to be a good steward of that sponsorship, and hopefully she'll go get educated and come back home. So, thanks to Paige.
Okay. Any other items the council like to bring up for discussion before we move on? Okay. Okay, moving on to new business, fire training facility relocation and development. Report dated July 6, 2026 from the Director of Protective Services regarding the fire training facility relocation and development. Recommendation. Councilor Noxana.
That council endorse the lands adjacent to Public Works Yard as the preferred location for the relocation and development of a new fire training facility, and that administration be directed to proceed with detailed planning design, funding applications, partner discussions, and project development for the proposed facility.
Seconder, Councilor Norbury. Discussion. I have a couple comments, Ms. Scott, if I may. My understanding when we had a conversation in regards to, obviously, as we move forward with a possibility of a new fire hall, that we talked about adding the training grounds to that location as well. One, to me, it would save cost. Just curious about that, because I thought we were pretty in-depth when we had that conversation. I know that we were waiting for this report to come back, but just, I'm a little concerned there. I mean, we're looking at close to $1 million here.
Yeah, the report does talk to some of the pros and cons about having those two facilities together and some of the other locations we looked at. I would like to give the Director of Protective Services the opportunity to provide council with some of that additional information, why this is the proposed recommendation to council instead of combining those two together.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as Ms. Scott did say, the report did contain a few of the alternative areas that we looked at from a cost perspective. We did look at consolidating with a potential fire hall project. There's not a lot of room for cost savings when it comes to establishing that. We're actually going to increase our cost for an apron. We're going to increase our cost for the building. That cost is going to remain the same. Where the cost savings would be in establishing a water line, because we would end up doing that for a building as well. So the cost overall would be minimal. And when you negate that against the other impacts that I've highlighted in the report, so increased smoke in an area where we may not want that, depending on where the fire hall is, especially if it's in a downtown core. Water, noise, runoff, everything like that we would have, especially if we were going to look at consolidating potential locations of a fire hall with other emergency services. It was not sought as favorable at this time.
Okay, thank you for that. I guess my concern is, and Scott, you've traveled around with council as well. We're seeing the new facilities being built right attached to the fire halls. Prince Rupert's one of them. Grand Prairie's another one. Edmonton Fire Halls are doing it. Beaver Lodge will be adding theirs adjacent to their fire hall. I know we say there's no cost savings there, and I understand from staff talking about other possible emergency services. I think that discussion can't be happening at this time, because there could be different details that are coming forward eventually in regards to that. So I have a hard time to being able to debate that. But that's my concern, is I see it elsewhere, and more halls that are being built are actually adding it to their stations. And is there a reasoning for it there compared to here? I guess that's my concern. I just don't want, it's not about that I'm against, and we're well aware that we need to look at some kind of different concept for the fire training grounds from where they're located today. But that's my concern. I remember the previous conversation, previous agendas was sea cans, gas shutoffs, all that. So again, I guess I'm looking for more, and I've read this report thoroughly, so.
I obviously don't have the details about why they chose in those locations to combine those two together. It could be for lack of other space. It could be because it's not within the same kind of core residential or business area. It could even be their own provincial standards. I can't speak to that, but I can ask, again, the Director of Protective Services if he has any additional information he can provide.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Mayor and Council, to the Mayor's question, comparing one department to another doesn't always paint the correct picture. When you look at something like Prince Rupert, for example, being a career department with a paid-on-call auxiliary, they don't train, let me back up, they train to the same standard, but their requirements for a volunteer department is not the same. They do not need to maintain their skills to the same degree that we would have to do. They have a requirement beforehand that they come in certified, they go to school, et cetera. We don't have that. We train in-house to the same standard that they would have previously gone to school. So that's one aspect to it. There was a report that was provided to council. We did look at options for so what the mayor was referring to with gas shutoffs would be a Class B facility, so we're not burning Class A materials, meaning wood, paper, straw, or anything like that. We're only using gas, natural gas products as part of that. It was a considerable larger cost when we go put into that. The proposed facility that you see in there with CCANs is a Class A facility. It is not a Class B facility, meaning that it's a much cheaper reduced cost, I should say. Not necessarily cheaper because the CCANs are there, but the props that are involved in a natural gas operation are quite a bit more expensive. For example, one bedroom would cost about $150,000 in order to try and produce. Again, I'll go back to why we chose to do this. We currently have our training grounds that's an off-site location. We feel that having off-site location allows us to do training in a controlled manner. We can change up some of the variables when it comes to training. We can pivot. We're not at the same thing at the same time. We can have it modular. We can have more flexibility on an off-site location than we can in the middle of a parking lot or something adjacent to a fire hall where we may have to interrupt traffic flows. We may need to, like in a parking lot, for example, we may need to inconvenience the public because of our noise, because we practice till 10 o'clock at night and we're having chainsaws and all the other kind of stuff that we're doing as part of our practice. At the same time. So having it in an area such as the one that we've proposed negates those concerns.
Thank you for that. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the fire chief's explanation. It's a good thing to think about, like when they're training, how will that affect the community? You know, when we look at a new fire hall, you know, I do see it being closer in a centralized location like what we have now. And, you know, for me, it also comes down to a couple of things. One, we don't know when a new building is going to be here, but having that live fire training facility that the staffs hold us on, that I appreciate the vision and I'm all in for it. I'd rather see that happen sooner rather than later. We've put this in the budget so that we can see them have it, so we can, you know, give that to our fire department to have a great training facility, and we know when that's going to happen. We don't know we're getting a building. So that's it for me. It's like, you know, what's worth it? You know, bird in the hand versus two in the bush. Like there's always going to be perfection, but we can have this and we should have it sooner. And, you know, if what we currently have now with off-site training facility works and they're identified that, then let's keep it going. Thanks.
Thanks. Any other discussion? Councilor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wondering about the site development costs here. I noticed the overall project cost is exceeding what we've budgeted for the next 2 years. So I'm just wondering, with this new site chosen, does the site development cost decrease with this new site, given that it's district-owned and fairly developed basically at this point? And are we able to do some of that development work ourselves to decrease that cost?
Scott?
Again, that's a question I will defer to the Director of Protective Services.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. To Councillor Bertrand's question, yes. The site costs that were developed with this site in mind. We looked at the other ones that were contained in the report. And as soon as we looked at the water line and the sheer amount that it was going to cost to run the water line, we kind of stopped at that point, and didn't pursue any more of the site prep that you see. What is going to be contained in here is going to be the additional fencing that's going to be required once we move over the non-for-profit area. We're going to establish that. So there's going to be some land clearing, a small amount. It's actually already a treed area. We're just going to have to do some sloping and stability and some groundwork for them. And then we're going to take over this existing site. So our development is actually their development for the pad, essentially, for where we're going to move the new. The lion's share of that cost is going to be the water line, which we knew was going to be expensive. Anything when you start disturbing ground and laying water line, I didn't quite expect it to be that expensive. So including the road work and everything, that's the lion's share of that site development. Certainly could involve more of ours. This is largely given by contractors, so there may be an opportunity for cost savings utilizing district staff.
Thank you for that. Any other discussion? So just on that, I guess, Ms. Scott, we're talking about running a water line, so we're not going to use the hydrant at the end of the roadway? We're going to run our own water line to it, not use the hydrant?
It is my understanding that the hydrant is not close enough, but again, I will ask the Director of Protective Services to provide that information.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Mayor, just for clarity, we will not be running water to the building at all. We're going to be extending the water line that's coming from in front of Becker Road, the Public Works office, to the hydrant at the corner. We're not expanding anything into the site on a water line, just that 55-meter there or so water line to a hydrant.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Community Forest Interpretive Trail Accessibility Improvements, report dated July 6, 2026, from Director of Economic and Community Development regarding Community Forest Interpretive Trail Accessibility Improvements. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That council approves the proposed accessibility improvements to the Community Forest Interpretive Trail.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Second recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor. That council supports a grant application to the Tumbler Ridge Community Forest in the amount of $35,000 to complete the accessibility improvements.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Third recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor. That subject to grant funding approval by the Tumbler Ridge Community Forest, council amends the 2026 to 2030 financial plan to include interpretive trail accessibility improvement project to the 2026 capital plan.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Willow Hall Operating Agreement Renewal, report dated July 6, 2026, from the Facilities Manager regarding Willow Hall Operating Agreement Renewal. Recommendation, please. Councilor Noxana.
The council approves the renewal of the Willow Hall operating agreement with the Light of the Rockies Lodge number 190 for a 3-year term commencing April 1st, 2026 and ending March 31st, 2029, and that council approves the attached Willow Hall operating agreement as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Norbury. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Community Center Arena Concession Agreement Renewal, report dated July 6, 2026, from the Facilities Manager regarding Community Center Arena Concession Agreement Renewal. Recommendation, please, Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. The council directs administration to negotiate the renewal of the downstairs community center concession lease agreement with the Lions Club of Tumbler Ridge for a 2-year term commencing September 16th, 2026 and ending September 15th, 2028.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana. Discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Development Variance Permit Application 32026-03, 107 Cottonwood Avenue. Report dated July 6, 2026, from the Director of Corporate Services regarding the development variance permit application 2026-03107 Cottonwood Avenue. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That council authorizes the issuance of development variance permit, DVP number 2026-03, for the property located at 107 Cottonwood Avenue, legally described as Lot 18, Plan 29135D L3164, Peace River District, to vary the minimum permitted front setback to 2.682 meters to accommodate an 8.8 times 8 mudroom addition.
Seconder. Councilor Noxana, discussion. Ms. Scott, is this equivalent to the size that we've been approving within the variances for front porches?
Quick review back through some of the other development variance permits that we have approved within the last few years. They have been anywhere from 4 feet to 6 feet. So in the few that we have approved in the last few years, this one is 2 feet larger.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. TR 28 Grant and Aid Policy and TR-40 Fee for Service Policy Amendment. Report dated July 6, 2026, from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding Grant and Aid and Fee for Service Policies Amendment. Recommendation one at a time, please. Councilor Noxana.
The council amends the TR 28 Grant and Aid Policy as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Norbury. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Second recommendation, please.
The council amends the TR 40 Fee for Service Policy as amended.
Seconder. Councilor Bertrand. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. EO-8 Council Budget Policy Amendment. Report dated July 6, 2026, from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding EO-8 Council Budgeting Policy. Recommendation, please. Councilor Noxana.
The EO-8 Council Budgeting Policy be amended as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Bertrand. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Admin 45 Storage Space Policy Amendment. Report dated July 6, 2026, from the Manager of Recreation regarding Admin 45 Storage Spaces Policy. Recommendation, please. Councilor Noxana.
The council adopts Admin 45 Storage Spaces Policy as amended.
Seconder. Councilor Hoffman. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councilor Norbury is opposed. Motion carries. Upcoming culture events. Report dated July 6, 2026, from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding the upcoming culture events. Recommendation, please. Councilor Noxana.
That anyone from council who's able to attend be authorized to attend Pemmican Days being held July 9th to 12th, 2026 at Soto First Nation, and West Moberly Days being held July 17th to 19th, 2026 at West Moberly First Nation, with related expenses coming from council's travel budget and materials and supplies budget.
Seconder. Councilor Norbury. Discussion. Ms. Scott.
I just wanted to provide a correction. I have incorrect dates in this motion. The Westmo Days is actually being held July 24th to 26th.
Okay. Okay, so we just need an amendment to that for the date. Councilor Noxana.
I would like to amend that to Westmo Days being held July 24th to 26th.
Seconder on the amendment. Councilor Norbury. Any discussion on the amendment? Call the question on the amendment, the date. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Discussion on the amendment, or on the amended motion, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Norbury.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll be attending Pemmican Days and Westmo Days on the Saturday of both of those events, so thanks.
Thanks. I can only attend, I will be attending as well, but I can only attend Pemmican Days, and it'll be on the Saturday. If anybody else go, maybe just communicate with each other. Okay, can I call a motion, or call a question, all in favor? Carried. Schedule of meetings. Anything to add from council? Okay. Anything from staff, sorry?
No.
Thank you. Any notice of motions? Okay. And then I think we'll just take, if we can go to closed. Can we do closed? Can't do council, can't do. Okay. We'll do council business after the delegations, if that's all right. Kind of messing this up a bit, but, sorry. Perfect. Take a resolution to close, please. Council Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. That the July 6th regular council meeting be closed to the public according to Section 91J and 2BI of the Community Charter to permit discussions about information that is prohibited or information that, if it were presented in a document, would be prohibited from disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, and the consideration of the information received and held in confidence related to negotiations between the municipality and a provincial government.
Seconder. Councilor Noxana, all in favor? Carried. 5-minute break. We're going to do a rise and report from close, and that's council approves the 2026 election cost sharing agreement between the District of Tumbler Ridge and the Board of Education of School District Number 59, Peace River South, as presented, and that council authorizes the mayor and corporate officer to execute the agreement as approved. Okay. Because we started earlier, we're going to go to delegations. I'm just going to move the delegation around a bit. Tumbler Ridge UNESCO Global GEOPARK, Kyra, Bertrand, and Manda Mags in attendance to ask permission from council to use the TR Trail to place geocaches for the Geoexplorer Program. Come on up to the delegation table, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll need to excuse myself as I am an employee of the GeoPark and I have a monetary interest. Thank you.
Okay. Just have to give a second here. That's when you should have, Nicole. All right, delegation. It's all yours. The floor is all yours.
I think Kyra's got a presentation, so, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Hello, Council. We appreciate the opportunity to present to you today. My name is Kyra Bertrand. I'm the Community Recreation Coordinator for the Tumbler UNESCO Global Geopark. This is Manda Mags. She is the Executive Director for the Global Geopark. We're here presenting on behalf of the Tumbler UNESCO Global Geopark to ask for your permission to use the TR Trail for our Geoexplorer geocaching program. The Geoexplorer program involves geocaches being placed along the TR Trail for locals and visitors. Geocaching is a free outdoor treasure hunt that is played across the globe. It's played through geocaching.com, an online resource where you sign up and create an account, and then you can see different geocaches in your area. Today there's more than 3 million active geocaches in 191 countries. There are 7 million active geocachers across the globe, and some people specifically travel to geocache as well. Caches are hidden treasures. They contain at least a logbook, which can be as small as a piece of notebook paper. Some caches will include small things to trade like foreign currencies, small toys, stickers, or tokens. Geocaching rules state that the caches must be waterproof and they cannot have any valuable, perishable, or easily damaged items inside the cache. As far as where they're hidden, they can be puzzles that are hidden in plain sight, Tupperware containers that are hidden under brushes or in root systems, or just a little metal container hidden in, some of them are like little magnets that are hidden on like trash cans or anything like that as well. The only rules around where they're hidden is they can't be buried and they must be 150 feet away from all railways. They also have GPS locations attached to them and clues to help you find them. Your first page in the handout we've provided is an example of what the map of Tumbler Ridge looks like when you open up geocaching.com, and what the cache pages look like with the coordinates, descriptions, and clues as well. Our Geoexplorer program combines the fun of geocaching with an added initiative to get out and explore more of our trails. The program is built so that we can put caches up on the geocache website and catch the attention of both residents and visitors who are on the site already. Phase 1 includes 20 caches in one area. The caches are broken up into 4 different clusters based on what part of the trail they would be on. Each cache also includes an ID plate with a cluster clue and a letter clue that combine to make a poem and word clue as well. That's the theme of that cluster, all relating back to our area and Tumbler Ridge. The reward system works with the tokens that are inside the caches. Instead of tradable items, we would place tokens. And then other geocachers can add items if they wanted, but we would just provide the tokens to add to the reward system. If somebody finds 1 token, they can trade it in for small stickers or toys. And then for 6 tokens, they receive toys, activity sets, or education kits. For 12, they can do hats, branded gear, local gift cards. And if they find all 20 caches, if they keep all of their tokens, they can get a social media shout out and one of the branded gear, local gift cards, or hats, or they will also get a Geoexplorer trophy as well. The reward system is pictured on your handouts as well. It's the yellow table, and then the clusters are on the green table. They have the poem and letter clues that we would be using. So our main ask is if we can use the TR trail to place our first area of 20 caches. Pictured in your handout, you can see the table that outlines a rough area of where the caches would be placed, how difficult they would be, and what type of cache would be placed there. We don't have exact locations yet because we haven't walked the trails to find the GPS coordinations for them exactly, but we're looking at placing 6 on the Point Trail, 4 on the Lost Haven Cabin Trail, 6 along the entirety of the Flatbed Trail system, and 4 along Kevin's Trail and the connectors around the TR Trail as well. With council's permission, we can begin the final planning stages and place the first caches in late summer or early fall. Since all the caches are already waterproof and have GPS coordinates, it makes it a lot easier to maintain. The geocaching website also has rules in them that they have to be maintained every 3 months by cache owners. And they all have cache logs on each of them as well that other users can say whether the cache has moved, if it's become dangerous, if it's missing, or if any damage has been made to it at all. So it makes it a lot easier to maintain as well. And then if it's the owner of the cache's responsibility to maintain and fix any issues, or the website will actually make the cache unavailable to the public as well. So it's an extra incentive to make sure that they're properly maintained. There is winter geocaching, but with the areas that we would like to place them, they would only have probably less than half available to be able to maintain through the winter. It would be just the drivable ones or the ones right in the very beginning of the trail, because the rest would become inaccessible because of the snow. But it's not as popular in the winter anyways. It's more popular in the summer, where we would have summer students to be able to go out and do maintenance and be able to help add more tokens if needed, change locations, make sure that everything is still where it is supposed to be. As this is phase 1, our future plans would be to run this area for at least a year and see if how feasible it is, how much people engagement we get out of it, how people like it. If all goes well, we would like to expand into other areas like possibly provincial parks and create a whole new area full of clusters and caches. We've also been looking into GeoTours, which is a program that geocaching.com runs. It would help give us more publicity as well and put us out to a larger audience that's already on geocaching.com. Yeah, so thank you very much for listening to our presentation. Any questions can I answer?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in and presenting to council. You did a great job, just so you know. Councillor Noxena.
Thank you. I don't have any questions, just a comment. My grandfather was an avid cacher. He has passed away now, but was here in 2015, I believe, and one of his complaints was there was not enough geocaches. So this is pretty cool to see that it's still an ongoing attraction for visitors and a great way to showcase our trails. So thank you.
Questions, comments by council. Councillor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. Well done. Just quick question on the tokens. I like the idea of the geocache. It's still very popular. Hikers love to have another target to try and find, I guess. So just a question on the tokens. Is this a typical reward system for geocache as a whole, or is this a local idea?
For ours specifically, it would be a local idea. With the GeoTours that geocaching.com has put out, they have a similar idea of an area of caches that have, they call them, I think, geoclips or geometals, but those have GPS coordinates inside of them, and they're little trackable chips, whereas ours would just be 3D printed or wood burned little tokens that say like Geoexplorer on them, that would be specific to our location. And they would, that we would put into all of our caches.
Follow up?
No, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions from council? Couple. Normally, we don't make a decision on delegation night. I know you're probably aware of that. I know you talked about, trying to get approval and try to get your plans made for summer and, maybe start the process before winter. So to me, it seems like, it is time sensitive if you're going to try to move this forward. True or not true?
It would be nice if we could start at it this summer, but if this is not possible for council, that's okay. We have, an ongoing summer student program, and Kyra's put all the work into this so far, so if she had to say, well, not this summer, it could be taken up by her next summer or someone else. So.
Okay, appreciate that. I think it's fairly exciting. I'll be honest, I'm not much into geocaching. I don't know if I've really picked it up, I guess. But I have heard other community members that come to town, and I can't remember the little dinosaur's name was, that people would go and hide around. And I mean, it's not just in Tumbler Ridge, but it was, it's been all the way over to Vancouver Island, down to the East Coast, and, from coast to coast to coast, when you see this little thing, and it's been posted all over social media. So, a lot of people are intrigued about it. So I think your idea of trying something like this within the community, I mean, obviously for our residents, but it's also for the tourism and for things for people to do when they come here. So hats off to you guys for coming up with that idea and logging in. And to me, having that concept that you belong to a site where it's on there, I think that's the real answer. I read back some of the comments that were on there. This is a pretty dangerous hill to be thinking someone can go down it. I mean, obviously, it's somebody that went and found this cache, seen it, and didn't feel comfortable going down that steep embankment. Not here, it was obviously somewhere else. So it's to me, it's neat that it can be interactive where people, if they find a hazard, you'll know about it, especially if you're not walking the trail every day. You'll know there's a hazard, whether that's, a tree's hanging there or something. So I think it's important that what you guys are doing there. So thank you very much for that. We'll see what we can do for you tonight. No promises. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. I just had one other question. I'm just curious if any other geoparks in the world have taken up this geocaching as well, and if there's any confusion between geocaching and geopark.
I can answer that, yes, there are other geoparks in the world that have taken on geocaching or added to that global database that Kyra had been talking about. I don't think that there would be some confusion between the two. I think because there is a dedicated website to find the geocaching information, it's fairly clearly separate from, like, say, our social media or our website. That said, I think that other geoparks have done this successfully, and we can look to them as a model.
Follow up? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming as a delegation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Somebody want to grab Councilor Norbury? Okay, moving on to Industrial Metalworks and TR Cares. Ashley Blinn representing Industrial Metalwork and Rose Schneider representing TR Cares, and intends to present to council regarding a request for a discount on golf tournament fees for their upcoming charity golf tournament scheduled for August 28th. Please welcome.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
All right, so this is our third annual charity golf tournament. The whole purpose is to raise funds for TR Cares, a registered charity in Tumbler Ridge, who's been around for quite many years. We took this over when TR Cares didn't have the time or the necessary volunteers to continue the tournament. So on behalf of TR Cares, we have decided to take this on, as well as our own expenses, to have a successful tournament for TR Cares. And that being said, as a business, we understand that there's some certain limitations for council to waive green fees like they have in the past. But there's been an influx in the amount of golf carts purchased by individuals who are attending the event, and we're seeking some kind of discount or a cart waive for the personal carts being used, as it's a straight tournament fee.
That includes your cart rental and green fee. So if that's something that could be considered today, or at least reviewed, we would greatly appreciate it. In 2025, our tournament last year, there was approximately 14 carts used. This year, we've already come up to 9, and that's without confirmation of all attendees. Do you have anything to add?
Well, we were in discussion, thank you, Ashley. In discussion, we were wondering if this is something council could consider for all tournaments that are fundraisers for other charitable or societies that are using golf tournaments as a fundraiser. So like not just us, but if that's a consideration, it is a good little bit of money that we don't get when everything else has gone up so much. So we do appreciate it. And I appreciate you calling, it's the old people couldn't keep up with the golf tournament, but she was nice not to say that.
All right, well, thank you very much. Be honest, I appreciate your comments, and especially when it comes to golf carts. And it was a good discussion I had, but I haven't had a chance to go through the information. I tried to pull it up online today to go through what you were talking about. So I think it's something we'll need to have a look at with, ask staff to get us information. Never will I ask questions to staff or try not to during a delegation. Normally it's just directly to the delegation, but I can promise I'll follow it up with it. Because I do believe that if you're hosting a tournament, whether that's yourself or another company, and you're only using 5 carts, you should probably only pay for 5 carts and not 36 carts or whatever the number is. I mean, I think we need to look into that. It could be in one of our policies that maybe we need to adjust it. Maybe it's something that we thought we had it right and we didn't have it right. I don't know for sure. I need to look into that because, it'd be up to council as a whole, but to me, I don't understand why we would charge for every team to have a golf cart, but yet 75% of your teams are showing up with their own personal carts. So you're paying for carts to sit at the pro shop. So, it's something, there may be just a glitch there. Maybe it was misunderstood. My understanding, and I could be wrong, and I know I was talking with Councilor Bertrand earlier about it. I always thought that if you're in a tournament, if you use the cart, you pay for it, not if it's not being used, and maybe there's some miscommunication there. I understand you're asking for, a discount or to be waived or whatever, but to me, we shouldn't be, I think we need to look into why we were charging that and how that worked, so we wouldn't have to worry about a discount or a fee waiver, because when we do that, I'll let council weigh in, but again, it's assisting a business. I understand that you're doing it for a charity or raising funds, but again, it's still a business that is running it, and then giving funds to a charity. So under the charter, we as elected officials can't support a business that way. But I understand what you're asking for in regards to that. I think it's just something we'll have to look into. And again, we don't ever give decisions on delegation day, but it does give us some time to get it, especially because your tournament's not till August. So we don't, it's not going to be monetary. So we might be able to decide that at the PMP in July. I'm not sure that'll be up to staff if that can be made, that decision can be made there. If not, it'd be done early in August if council was to agree with it, and staff would be able to get back to you. I don't have any questions. I think you guys do a great tournament. I think hats off to you that you're running a tournament with businesses and taking that and driving a local non-for-profit charity that does so much for the community members, and you guys are taking that on. So hats off to you and all your volunteers that are doing it. That's all I would have to say. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I appreciate you coming in, Ashley and Rose. To me, it just makes sense, like, if you're not using a cart, we wouldn't charge you for it. So I'm surprised to hear that we're charging you for carts you're not using. It seems like that should be something that is within our realm, and we're definitely going to have to go and look at that because, all the money you're raising goes to tier cares, it goes to a good cause. We don't need to take that money away from a good cause. So, yeah. Thank you. Any
other questions or comments from council? All right, thank you very much. Promise we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
I guess Ms. Scott, is the other delegation coming by Zoom? No, she is on Zoom. Okay. LIFESAVING Society, BC and YUKON branch, Leanne Grace, Executive Director, requests council to support declaring July 19th to the 25th, 2026 as National Drowning Prevention Week in Tumbler Ridge. Lenea, how are you?
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can. Floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Lenea Grace. I serve as the Executive Director of LifeSaving Society BC and YUKON branch. For those that aren't as familiar, the LifeSaving Society is a charitable organization dedicated to preventing drowning through swim lessons, training programs, water smart education, aquatic safety services, including expert services available to municipalities in developing or operating aquatic facilities, and life-saving sport. The Life-Saving Society is recognized as Canada's lifeguarding expert and one of the 5 leading agencies in providing first aid in the country. And annually, over 1.7 million Canadians participate in our swim, life-saving, lifeguarding, first aid, and leadership programs. Knowing that July sees the peak of water-related incidents and fatalities each year, the Life-Saving Society chooses the 3rd week of July as National Drowning Prevention Week, or NDPW. This is a public awareness campaign each year to build community and media support for the drowning prevention cause. NDPW provides an opportunity for local water smart experts to promote the Society's messages of safety on the water and to encourage everyone to think ahead before heading for their favorite lake or river. Pools and waterfronts throughout BC and Yukon help to communicate preventative drowning information and to promote water safety through public events and media campaigns. This year's theme is Safety Starts with Being Water Smart, Prepare and Prevent. Ahead of NDPW, communities across BC join us by issuing official proclamations, like you folks are doing tonight. These proclamations raise awareness of the importance of water safety at the local level, encouraging residents to adopt safe practices in and around the water. By declaring July 19th through 25th, 2026 as National Drowning Prevention Week, local governments across the region amplify our message and help save lives. 2026 has seen an alarming number of drownings since January 1st. As of today, at least 27 people in British Columbia have died in drowning-related incidents, with additional fatalities still under investigation or with active searches underway. We are seeing risky behavior, including many people not using life jackets when boating or failing to take basic precautions to plan for safety when swimming or paddling in changing conditions. Drowning is preventable, but only when action is taken to prevent it. So with the support of your community, we will shine a light on these risks and ensure that more British Columbians are kept safe in, on, and around the water this summer. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have or have any discussions about how your community can champion water safety and access expertise from the Life-Saving Society. And I'll also mention that our team will be at the Union of BC Municipalities Convention this September, and we'll be pleased to connect then or beforehand. So with that, thank you very much for your support for National Drowning Prevention Week and for the invitation to speak today. And thank you for championing this in Tumbler Ridge.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight in the delegations. Any questions, comments by council? All right, well, thank you very much. There's no questions, but again, thank you very much for bringing this to the forefront. And later on in our agenda, just so you know, we'll be supporting the proclamation for the National Drowning Week.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Done. Okay, proclamations, recommendation. Councillor Noxana.
That the week of July 19th to 25th, 2026 be proclaimed as National Drowning Prevention Week in the District of Tumbler Ridge, and that council approves the draft proclamation as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Norbury, discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. It needs to be read out, Ms. Scott. Yeah, that's better. Okay, whereas the mission of Life-Saving Society Canada is to prevent drowning throughout this great country, and even one drowning in British Columbia is one too many, and whereas most drownings are preventable in a water-smart community, and only through water-smart education and a healthy respect of potential danger that a body of water may present, can we genuinely enjoy the beauty and recreation opportunities offered by these bodies of water. And whereas the Life-Saving Society urges Canadians and residents of Tumbler Ridge to supervise children who are in and around the water to refrain from drinking alcohol beverage while participating in aquatic activities, and to always wear a life jacket when boating. And whereas the United Nations General Assembly passed the UN Resolution on Drowning Prevention A75L.76 and named July 25th of each year as World Drowning Prevention Day. And whereas Life-Saving Society Canada has declared July 19th to the 25th, 2026 National Drowning Prevention Week to focus on drowning problem and hundreds of lives that could be saved this year. Therefore, it be resolved that the council of District of Tumbler Ridge do by here proclaim July 19th to the 25th, 2026 National Drowning Prevention Week in the District of Tumbler Ridge, and do commend its thoughtful recognition to all citizens of our municipality. Okay. Notice motion has been had, none. Councilor's business. Before we do council business, Ms. Scott, how would I waive policy in regards to delegation night? What do I need to do to waive that? Okay. I'm going to put a motion forward that we waive policy in regards to delegation of the UNESCO Global Geopark, and it be added to tonight's agenda for discussion. Seconder, Councilor Noxena, Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I need to recuse myself as a monetary interest. Thank you.
Call the question. All in favor of adding? Opposed? Council Hoffman's opposed. Does it have to be? No, it doesn't, because it's not added before, so motion carries. Normally I don't do it. I think it's time-sensitive concept, so I'm going to put a motion on the floor that council directs staff to work with the Tumbler Ridge UNESCO Global Geopark in approving the use of the TR Trail for their geocache. Seconder, Councilor Bertrand, discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. And grab Councilor Norbury. Okay, councilor's business. Again, just want to thank Councilor Julich for catching up on the on all the reports from her liaison position. They're all on the agenda. Anything from the floor? Councilor Noxena.
Thank you. I attended FCM and BC's Keeping It Rural. Both were really great conferences. FCM's highlight was probably seeing Councillor McDonald from Dawson Creek speak at the conference about the water troubles Dawson Creek has had, and some of the mitigation efforts that they are working on. Keeping It Rural was very, very full. We had Chief Clarence Louie as a keynote speaker. He talked about working together and how when our neighbors prosper, our whole community prospers. So if that is Tumbler Ridge is doing great, that means our local communities or local neighbors are also doing great. And we should be wanting that for them because it just benefits the whole region. There was discussions on crisis response, housing, funding in rural communities, real-time virtual support, rural health care, and so much more. It's always a really full week, so I really appreciated being able to attend. I was able to attend Rise and Vibe here in Tumbler Ridge. It was a really well put together event, and the weather did not cooperate. However, it was really busy every time I was down at the fairgrounds. There was a ton of residents there who really appreciated having that here in our community, a great way to kick off summer, and a ton of visitors who traveled in specifically for this event. I was talking to neighbors of ours who had a friend come up from Vancouver specifically because she thought it was such a cool thing to come to in Tumbler Ridge. So really great to have folks come together and do that for our community. I was extremely honored to be invited to the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School graduation this year. It's always a great couple days to be a part of, and it's going to be amazing to see what these young adults achieve in their life because we have some really strong people going out into the world to make a difference. So that's all I got.
Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended FCM. And I also attended the medical conference over the weekend. I didn't make the Friday event night, but I did make the Saturday event. As you know, they had fun activities for children, so they hosted it at the fairgrounds where we got to meet and mingle with all of prospective doctors, nurses, medical professionals, and it was a great venue, because they had that dinosaur area open for family members to bring their kids along, and it's something that the medical conference has done a good job at, of including the entire family, because we recognize that's how today's, recruitment and retention works. You got to think about the entire family, not just the individual. So great event, great opportunity to be able to rub shoulders with doctors and entice them to Tumbler Ridge. Thanks.
Thanks. Anything else from council? Yeah, I had a busy, I didn't realize it's already July, but it is, isn't it? I attended FCM as well. I not only attended FCM, so we landed at FCM on Wednesday, and I departed Thursday morning for Nanaimo. And was a panel with the Hope Truck at the Indigenous Resource Conference there. We did an awesome job. I'll be honest, I think the whole panel, we rocked it. There is a video, I think I just received in my email a couple days ago. I'll share it with the CEO that she can share it out with council. But the amount of people that came forward after the event, we are going to, sounds like one of the contributors this year will be BC One Call, and they're just trying to figure out how to work that out on when somebody calls for BC One Call before you dig. What area would they use to be able to donate, whether it's $1 from every time somebody calls, but they want to be part of this Hope Truck concept. Realizing that it's not, we're not just saying it's reconciliation and we're working with our First Nation and industry. We're actually been proving it and able to show that we are. And it's true reconciliation and true partnerships, working with communities and Indigenous communities as well as industry. And I only spent about 30 minutes after the event. But after I got back to the FCM and received emails the next day, the other panelists spent about 2 hours talking to other individuals from I'll say across Canada, mainly from Vancouver Island and in the Lower Mainland. Just wondering how it was established and what that process was. But I think it's a leading edge where other resources could pick up the same concept, whether that's logging, other mines, but mills, whatever. I think it's something that, it's definitely something I champion. I think it's great that we can work with our First Nations and industries and come together looking at reconciliation and taking those dollars and looking after our children and our youth and with those dollars. And I think that's what people really captured from there. I think there was over 500 people at the conference. It was full. But yeah, that was great. FCM was busy when I got back. I did do the fire hall study tour. I don't normally do study tours when I go to the conference. First one I've ever done a study tour on. And it's at net zero emissions for a fire hall. And it's, when we first, people talk about it, but really, truly, it's net zero over 12 months, not net zero daily or monthly. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty basic fire hall. I can't remember what the cost of building it was. I gave all the sheets to Ms. Scott. I can't remember the cost of building it, but they have solar panels on it. They're doing the geothermal for heating. But it's just a basic hall. They made sure all their south-facing windows are bigger than any other window. All the other windows are smaller. If they need to be an egress window, then they're the proper size. But other than that, they don't have as many windows on that side, so they're not bringing in the cold. So I thought they did a good job. They've learned a lot moving forward to new halls. So previously, used to have male and female bathrooms, no longer. It's just a general neutral bathroom. Even the main shower facility is a common area. So obviously females can gather their clothes or males and you go in and have a shower. They've learned that the members, that was one of the things that they talked highly about is the fire personnel don't like that. They don't want to take their dry clothes into the shower room. So they're going to build these divider things that'll work differently. That are, you obviously can put your house coat in and go and shower. When you come out, you can put this divider down, and obviously you have the whole lock area to yourself. And there's lots of firefighters talking about how that's going to make a difference in their morale. So I thought that was kind of neat, something neat to talk about. Obviously a full-time hall, but that was cool. Lots of meetings. I'll be honest, can't remember them all. I didn't bring my book, but it was full. Did go and talk, or went to the one with Kyle. I thought it was well done by Dawson Creek. I don't think they give enough time when they do those panels, in my mind anyways. They're 5 minutes or something they each had, and it's too quick, I think, when they're trying to really get out what they're dealing with, whether that's in Dawson Creek or another community when they're having other stuff going on there. But I thought it was well attended. I do believe staff made a good call and not having staff attend. I think that was a good call. I had issues going to the FCM this year. Too many people know the Geo truck. I'm not sure how many times Councillor Noxana and Councillor Norber were approached, but I constantly, anytime I was up by the hotel. So it was a little tough dealing with, and you're trying to go through actually being at a conference and not just trying to live through the tragedy, but it'll move forward. Attended Canada Day, well done by staff. great job. I know they did have other thoughts for Kennedy. That's why it was in the curling ring and being outside with some events, but volunteer base fell short. So again, that tells me something loud and clear in regards to volunteering. People are getting burnt out and constantly having to volunteer. So the staff did a great job. Thank Council Norbury, helped hand out cupcakes, which went fairly quick. Lions did a great job barbecuing with the burgers and hot dogs. Live band, again, to me, that's one of the successes for Canada, is actually having somebody there singing "O Canada." We're not listening to "O Canada" without words. I think it makes a difference in getting people to sing. So I really like that. If staff can continue with that, I think that's, this year I did not step out of my wheelhouse and immediately hire the band on stage. So, but if staff could look into something like that, I think it does mean a lot, I think, for the residents. But yeah, I thought the community, tons of people out. We had somebody, I'm not sure, maybe, staff can send an email on how that worked with the flowers. I know somewhere out of Fort St. John donated a bunch of flowers and strawberry plants and all that. Take one if you want one. So I think that was well received by the community. So maybe we should be sending that company, or if it's an organization, I don't know where they came from, but we should be sending them a thank you letter, I would hope, and as well received by the community. Rise and Vibe went to that. Well done by the organizers, their volunteers. Ribfest was, I thought it was well done. I ate each night there, it was good. I did do the ribs judging on Sunday. It definitely was good, so that was fun. So it's good to see that come here. Grad, again, Councilor Knox had already mentioned Grad, but yeah, well attended and looked nothing but to see what these young adults are going to do as they move forward in their education or wherever they decide to go. Attended the medical conference at the museum on Friday night. Friday night. Dale Bumstead was there, Mayor of Chetwynd was there, and yeah, again, just try to meet and greet the people that come up to the medical conference and let them know what Tunbridge has. We also had revaluation for the GeoPark, UNESCO Global GeoPark last week, and I want to thank Councilor Knoxana for stepping in on Monday. Could make it, so she was able to meet and greet the two evaluators that came to our community. I attended, I think it was Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night? I don't know. One of the nights anyways, they had the Geo Interpretive Center, they had First Nations come and dance, and we just did obviously it was well done by Soto First Nations, but I thought it was great. Evaluators seemed to see that it's not, and I think the executive director mentioned it, this isn't just we're here and using them and that, it's actually about learning the cultures for the First Nation, and I thought they did a great job explaining each dance and what it meant and why they do it. So I appreciate the UNESCO Global GeoPark reaching out and inviting council to whatever anybody could attend, and I apologize I couldn't attend more, but I did attend that, and I thought it was well done by the UNESCO Global GeoPark executive director and her staff. And I think that's almost it. I think that's about it. We'll leave it at that. All right. Anything else from council? Any emailed in questions, Ms. Scott?
No.
Okay. Take adjournment, please. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor, that the July 6, 2026 regular council meeting be adjourned.
Seconder, Councilor Knoxana, all in favor? Carried.